Hello, welcome to the Nairobi Health Show. Today I have Sara Banta, a repeat offender. She's been on the show before. Sara, thank you so much for coming back.
I'm so excited to be here, Dave. It's always awesome being with you and your energy and everything that you're all about.
Thanks so much. And you have a podcast now going yourself, and I was honored to be on there. The Accelerated Health. I'm sorry, tell me the proper name of the whole show.
Accelerated Health Radio and TV. And it's broadcasted over 100 channels and all of the main ones, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, of course, YouTube.
Excellent. And it's a fun show. And Sara is a real pro, and I'm so excited to have her back. And we have checked and tried to get the best possible video audio experience. And on Sara's stream somehow here is just a little bit off. Her audio's fine, but we feel like it's good enough. And this is all about content. It's all about great ideas. And
Right.
Sara, I know you've got lots of good ideas, and I think you're going to be able to deliver them just fine. So audience that are watching, if you're listening, you probably won't notice a thing. If you're watching, it might look a little bit delayed, but not so bad that we're not going to go on with the show. Right?
Awesome. Right. Exactly. I'm just having a hard time watching myself.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's really just fine. The audio is perfect, and most of the public publication we do on this show is actually audio. So most people are just going to hear it. Now, Sara reached out to me recently, and I was really glad to get her emails. It's been a long time since you were on the show, but you reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got a lot of new, really exciting stuff that I'm really wanting to share with people." And of course, as a health coach, I always love to hear that, because one of the things we know in this space is that we live in a really exciting time. You know, it's not that long ago, like when I was in, high school learning about health on a basketball team, that pretty much everything we were taught about nutrition and hydration was completely wrong. And even Olympic athletes just 40 years ago had terrible regimens, really. They were able to do amazing things based on very little science. And it's just gotten better and better and better. And then with the internet and the connection between all these professionals all over the world, I think it's just accelerating even faster. And Sara, I think you're experiencing that in your world as well.
Absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned what we grew up with, because I just wrote an article on my blog about calorie counting and how does it work, does it not work? And what's so funny is that's what I grew up thinking that was the right way to do it, right? Especially as a woman. And I go into the myth about it and how to actually successfully lose that fat weight without counting calories. You can eat the exact same amount of calories and burn up to 300 more. And what is the science behind actually increasing your energy physically, mentally, and even spiritually, and doing it in a high-tech, natural way. What I've been doing, Dave, that's been really exciting since we spoke last years ago, is focusing on frequency medicine and taking supplements and actually enhancing them with scalar frequencies. So essentially you are taking a supplement, say for instance, my accelerated silver, which silver's been known for thousands of years to boost the immune system, to devitalize foreign pathogens like viruses, bacteria, fungus, and that sort of thing. But the accelerated scalar silver puts in the scalar frequencies to enhance that process and boost that immune system above and beyond any other supplement like it in the market. And so we've done that. And then we also, I focus on modalities and technologies that can heal the body naturally through frequencies, and even patches. You can wear these patches that increase stem cell production through phototherapy. So there's just a whole world that has opened up since we last talked.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I started laughing when you talked about the silver study, because that was so politically correct what you said. We used to sell silver. We don't anymore, not because we don't love it, but it was kind of an offshoot outside of our product line and where we wanted to go. And so long story short, we ended up not selling silver. But before, when we were selling silver, we did a lab test on a previous version of coronavirus. I think it was a 2016 Corona, and it had a 99.999% kill rate. And I went to announce that, and my staff afterwards was just like petrified. Don't
Nope.
say kill rate. Don't use the word kill. They thought it was absolutely horrific. So the way you said it was so nice.
Well, politically correct when you say devitalize, because actually a virus isn't quote unquote live, right? So you're taking its vital force out of it is the politically correct way I am using the term. And silver is actually one of the targets that is being censored across the country right now. So I do have to be very careful, but that was just one example.
Yeah.
So you take the acceleridine iodine, which also, iodine was used during the Spanish flu in 1918 and that was a pandemic as well, but that was used to go after that virus. And iodine is known to help with your thyroid health. It's known to devitalize viruses, bacteria, parasites. It's also extremely important for depression. It's if you are iodine deficient, it is the #1 predictor for depression. It also helps detox the body of heavy metals and radiation. The acceleridine does, not all iodine, but this one is charged with scalar frequencies to do so.
Now let's start with food. What foods are a good source of iodine?
Now this is where it becomes tough. Our food sources and our soils used to be full of iodine, and we didn't need to take a supplement. And then our waters would be full of iodine in the kelp and the seafood that we're eating. However, since Chernobyl and Fukushima, a lot of the sources of iodine are contaminated with heavy metals and radiation. So that is the conundrum we're at. And most people are deficient. 96% of the United States is deficient in iodine. Then you would say, okay, well, let's do iodized salt. Well, iodized salt is stripping all of the other minerals out of the salt other than sodium and putting in the iodine. And 36 out of 39 salts that were tested in a study were full of microplastics. So you have to be very careful with the salts that you're taking. So I have an accelerated ancient salt that has the full mineral balance that is natural. And it is, of course, is enhanced with scalar frequencies to detox from radiation and heavy metals as well. It is part of, it works in conjunction with the iodine. Where do I get my iodine other than the iodine supplement? I do like nori or seaweed wraps, but then you're still, taking the risk of it being contaminated with radiation. And I love seafood. So
but a lot of people don't eat enough seafood. And so point taken, there's an anecdotal kind of test people used to talk about. And I want to run this by you and just see what you think, because you're an anodyne expert. People used to say, if you want to know if you're deficient in anodyne, put some liquid iodine on the back of your hand. And if you're deficient, it'll color your hand. And if you're not, it'll suck, or vice versa. Have you heard of that? And is there anything to that?
Yes. So I tell people to take the iodine, put it on your wrist, 1 or 2 drops. And if it disappears within an hour or 2, you are deficient. If it stays there for a while, then you're not deficient. You don't need that much. So
cool. So
there's something to that.
Yeah. Okay. So iodine, wonderful. And of course, your website is
acceleratedhealthproducts.com.
Accelerated Health Products. So we can learn all about those there. So iodine, wonderful. Let's go now. Oh, and back to the silver for just a sec. I'd forgotten. I can't believe I'd forgotten this until you said it. Another one of the reasons we discontinued the silver is our insurance company started demanding that we break out the silver, and we had to tell them how much we sold every single year. And we actually had to pay a premium on our general liability insurance policy because we were selling silver. And that, in conjunction with the fact that it was a wonderful product. And I agree with you on the silver. I think it's a great product. I still take it myself, but I don't sell it anymore because the environment for selling it got too toxic. There was liabilities there. And I hope you can navigate those just fine. But let's move on from iodine. What's another one, another deficiency or another supplement that you're excited about right now?
Well, right now, along the same lines of Acceleradine is the Nuke No More, because we are, and I have to be careful with how I word this, in 2021, we are being bombarded by a whole nother level of heavy metals and radiation, right? So how do you detox from that? Because you know, Dave, that it's really important to detox the body to make sure that the liver and the kidneys are working correctly. Our liver and kidneys were amazing for our ancestors. They did not have the toxin overload that we are bombarded with right now. Whether even if you are eating every whole food that's all organic, some of those organic crops are being oversprayed with the GMOs, and we are getting sprayed with other things and exposed to the radiation. Here we are on video, on TV, and we've got our cell phones to our right, and we are, our kids are being exposed to it at a different level than we ever were when we were kids. So the Nuke No More is a scalar enhanced frequency remedy that zeroes you out of all non-ionizing and ionizing radiation. So that's radiation from the nuclear blast that we're talking about, from smart meters, from cell phones, from the 5G towers, from any heavy metals that we may be exposed to or even ingesting in the air we breathe, or the environmental toxins. You talk about kids. My kids are at a public school and they spray insecticides at the school. I have no control over that, even though I don't want that in their system. So that is the only supplement I know of that zeroes you out of all radiation. It's amazing. So what you do is, when you're taking the Acceleradine, you are feeding your body the iodine, and it's kicking out the heavy metals and the radiation. The Nuke No More follows that up and zeroes you out. But if your cells don't have the sufficient amount of iodine, it will start attracting those heavy metals and the toxins like fluoride, bromide, and chlorine that are all in the same halogen family as iodine when you look at the periodic table. So those molecules or atoms look alike. So if you don't have the proper amount of iodine in your body, those other things are going to attach to those receptor sites. And what people don't realize is there are a lot of receptor sites for iodine in your pineal gland, and that's where fluoride likes to get deposited. And when you get older, you feel, gosh, I just have this brain fog. I can't get the fog out of my brain. And when people start taking the iodine and the Nuke No More, it's like they wake up. What did you do for me, Sara? My brain is thinking of, my energy is great. And not only do I notice my thyroid working better, my metabolism better, but I actually am thinking on a higher spiritual level. And it's really fun to see that feedback. But that's what I'm really excited about.
And for people that have that experience, that's terrific because it's self-verifiable. But how do you measure that? Like, for example, last year I had someone on my show who had a similar product, and I took it not because I didn't know. I don't know how much heavy metals in my body. I have no clue. I mean, I get, nutritional blood panels done, and I just had one done recently that was very comprehensive. But I took a metal-free type of a product just to be proactive. And I didn't have that kind of experience, and I am generally healthy. So a lot of times, I think there's some products that people need to take that won't necessarily give them that wonderful experience. Like, generally speaking, the worse your health is, the more noticeable a new good health habit is, right? So sometimes if you're generally healthy and you take one of these products, you don't know. How do you measure? Is there a test? How can a person tell if they've got too much heavy metals in their system?
Most of us do. So I could tell you that most people, if they have not detoxed from heavy metals, they are probably loaded. But there's a really easy way to verify it. You do a urine test. They collect your urine over a 24-hour period, and you send it in, and they'll give you the report back. And when I did it, I was off the charts in lead, mercury, aluminum. It was just awful. But what was interesting, Dave, is when you go through a detox protocol, your levels actually, if I were to get tested midway through that detox protocol, my levels will actually increase on the test because
Yeah.
I'm pulling those those elements out of my tissues into the blood. So it seems
Yeah.
like that level is higher. And then you do it at the very end and you'll see that it's gone down again. And I've done that. And what you said about when people will notice a bigger difference in themselves the dirtier or more unhealthy they are. I actually find that some of my clients who get to the point where they're really clean, they start noticing a difference when they add one more thing in. And I do. So for instance, here I am. I've been living this clean lifestyle. I sauna every day. I work out every day, whether it's a hard HIIT workout or walking my dog, right? Or yoga.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not, chronic cardio type of person. I like lifting weights, but I really listen to my body. So I have all of these things that I do. I eat wild meats and organic vegetables. But when I started introducing these frequency stem cell patches, for instance, this is the newest thing that I've incorporated in my own body. I actually did not want to like them. I said, I don't have the bandwidth to even get involved in something else. And I started them and I said, gosh darn it, I really love them and I feel a difference. Now, what are they? And I can show you, I'm wearing them right here on my chest. And these ones, these ones are the energy enhancer ones that increase ATP production. So is it giving me a false level of energy like my cup of coffee in the morning? No, it's increasing ATP production in the mitochondria, right? So it's at this true cellular level. It helps with circulation and digestion and edema, which is something that constitutionally in Ayurvedic medicine, I suffer from and I have to fight or work with, I should say, on a daily basis. But when I added these patches in, you think, oh, well, Sara, you're so clean with everything you do, you probably didn't notice much of a difference. I noticed a huge difference. And and they're working synergistically with the other things I do. So the Iodine increases ATP production by 36 times what a typical person has. Okay. And then the accelerated keto is a supplement that not only is exogenous ketones, but has 9 other additional ingredients that increase ATP production and defats the liver. So it mobilizes the fatty liver and the visceral fat, and it turns those fats, the saturated fats, into unsaturated fats so that you can use them more. Do you have to be on a strict ketogenic diet to benefit from the accelerated keto? No, but that supplement as well increases ATP production. So we are trying to work with the body to make the body do the work, increasing that ATP, increasing the mitochondria, turning that white fat into brown fat, which is the more metabolically healthy fat, getting rid of the visceral fat and the fatty liver, which also, fatty liver is going to compromise the liver function. And that is going to compromise our ability to detox. So going back to the radiation and the heavy metals, it's all working together. And your body is one fine-tuned machine, that works in hand with each other, right? Your liver, your kidneys, your digestion, and just down to the cellular level.
Yeah, it's a system. And too many people don't consider it a system. They're always thinking of like one area of health they want to work on or one new habit, one supplement. How well does it work? And I'm really of the mindset of having a good system and then giving credit for the success to the whole
Right.
system.
Right.
For me, I take I take a small pharmacy of supplements every single morning, right?
Yeah.
I have my little box. Actually, I put them in a box in the cupboard so I can bring them down, put them on the cupboard, take them all. And to me, it's the combination of that set and the
Mhm.
fact that I'm getting my blood work done every 6 months to just see what I need to adjust. So I feel like it's really um, comprehensive. It's a fit for me, even if, sometimes I do, Sarah. Sometimes I add something new to my regimen and I really notice. Other times I add something new that I know is good and healthy for me and I don't notice anything and I still do it
Right.
anyway because I'm not necessarily, and frankly, I'm in the supplement business like you are. And as much as I love the testimonials that, I started taking this product and the next day I felt like $1,000,000. Like those are fun stories, right? And we get those. And yet at the same time, I prefer I prefer the stories 6 months later, a year later.
Yes.
I've been following this path for a year and I feel like $1,000,000. Now that
Yeah.
is just even more fulfilling because it's more real, it's more long lasting. But first
Yeah.
of all, before we move on, I want to back up a little bit. Where does a person get the test done that you mentioned for heavy metals?
Gosh, there you just can Google heavy metal urine test and they'll
Also,
mail,
any,
yeah,
okay, okay.
anyone would. But I wanted to
Okay.
mention, the way I learned about all of this, my mentor used in my health crisis. Yeah, I discussed it on your last show, if people want to really get into it. But when I was at my rock bottom, I was loaded with heavy metals. I had Crohn's disease, zero digestion, constipation, bloat, PCOS, had a hard time getting pregnant. I had teenage acne and I was no longer a teenager. My hair was falling out. All of these things, I
Wow.
was falling apart. And so, what we did with my mentor, he used a SCIO machine, which is a frequency based machine that scans your body for over 10,000 items. And so, as I would introduce different ways of eating or different supplements, his feedback, the biofeedback from the SCIO machine would say, this is working or this is not working. And with the beauty, Dave, since the last time we talked, that machine is $30,000. I'm not going to buy that machine, and it takes a lot of training to use. I probably could use it because I've worked with my mentor on it so much. But right
Yeah.
here on my cell phone, you can see it's working right now. This is the Genius Insight app that people can look up on my website as well. And it's a mini version of the SCIO machine. So what it will, through voice technology, it scans my voice. I speak into it. It scans over, gosh, is 10,000 items. They've got different libraries that you can input in there. And it will tell me, what am I struggling with today? Is it my kidneys? Is it EMF exposure? Is it that I'm exhausted because I didn't sleep last night? Is it because I'm about to start my cycle? Or am I perimenopausal? Or is my vision bad? Or what is it? Even goes down to how your chakras are or your spinal energy. So then what I do is I put together a program to play back. And through frequencies, it is playing music essentially that is putting the imbalanced frequencies in my body back in balance. And so it's a great way to feedback. And then if something keeps coming up over and over and over again, like kidney stones, for instance, then I say, okay, time to go to the doctor, time to go get a blood
Mm.
test or a urine test to really test this out. Or is it going to be there just for a day or two and it seems like it's being rectified through my supplements, diet, and the other modalities I have, and it goes away? Then maybe it's not something I need to go get checked out. So that's another way that people can take control of their health. And the other thing I wanted to touch on, because I loved how you said you want to hear the 6-month testimonials. Well, starting this year in 2021, I started doing group coaching. And with that group coaching, it's free. The group coaching is free. Anyone who is in my Ascent Diet Cleanse, which is my most comprehensive cleanse, they get the free coaching. And what has happened is that helps people troubleshoot. Gosh, Sarah, I was feeling amazing for a week, but then I just hit a wall. What happened? Right? And then we talk about, well, it's not necessarily that you're not eating enough. It's that you're not hydrating, or you're not taking in your minerals or salt. Maybe that's it. Or gosh, I lost 20 pounds and now I'm at a plateau. What do I do now? And that is where you see the 6-month testimonials, the year
Yeah.
testimonials. This is not just a 30-day diet. This is a lifestyle change. This is opening my mind to how my body really works and gives me that power back. And especially in an environment right now where everyone is so fear-based because we're so scared of something, and we just need to have that power over our innate immune system. And that's what I really am passionate about.
Awesome. Any other supplements you want to touch on? I want to touch on any other supplements you want to, and then a little bit on nutrition before I let you go. And we've got about
Yeah, of
4
course.
minutes.
So the Ascent Diet Cleanse, I'll just touch on that in general. So that includes the silver and the Iodine and the accelerated keto, but then it has the accelerated cellular detox powder that is 6 organic ingredients that helps soothe the intestinal tract, soak up the toxins that you're pulling out that we've talked about, right? Because we need to make it easy for the kidneys and the liver. And it bypasses those and takes those toxins out of your colon easily, helps with constipation and diarrhea. And it balances out the doshas, as they talk about in Ayurvedic medicine. That is something that I love. I take every day. You know, I had one daughter this week who was having an emotional roller coaster. It's fun living with teenage girls in the house. And I think she had a...
I was just about to say something snarky, like it's even more fun when they've all moved out, but
Right.
I won't go there.
Well, no, I have
I love my daughters. I absolutely love my daughters.
Well,
but there
my
were some hard
oldest...
moments. I'm
Oh,
relating
yeah.
to you.
My oldest is a son, and he moved out, and my husband's like, why did you leave me with all these women in the house? But she got food
Oh, that's
poisoning.
terrible.
And I said, here, have the detox powder. And she goes, gosh, it really helps because it just settles that stomach and it soaks up the toxins. And then at the end of the cleanse, we take you through a liver flush. Are you ever starving through this month? No. You feel your energy shoots up physically and mentally. Your appetite gets suppressed. You crave the healthy, nutrient dense food. So it takes away the cravings for sugar. And then in the end, you flush out hundreds to 1,000 gallstones, liver stones in the toilet. And what I love to explain to people is that your liver is where you hold your anger and frustration. So as you're flushing these physical stones out of your body, you're actually flushing a lot of the anger and frustration that has built up in your body as well. And people feel this amazing emotional release. And then their thyroid works better, their metabolism shoots up. They're actually anti-aging. I'm not in this to just keep you from slowing down aging. I'm actually going backwards. I'm age reversal. And through the patches, through some of the other supplements like My Vital C, which we haven't talked about yet. It's a carbon 60 supplement. And
I take it. I take it. I had Chris Burris on my show.
Yep. He's awesome. So all of these different ways, we are reversing our aging, and people are seeing a difference in their hair, their nails, their skin, their energy, their sleep. And they all, like we've talked about, work together.
Okay. Well, I can't let you go without one. Give us your favorite current nutritional tip or idea, or something you've picked up that nutritionally you're working on with your clients or having success with yourself or in your family.
One thing that I don't think people realize is the power of protein. And the reason is, and I'm talking about wild meats like bison, lamb, deer, elk, wild fish. I'm not a fan of chicken. It's full of amyloid proteins, which actually can be deposited in the brain and create amyloid plaques, that sort of thing. But the power of protein. Your gut has a hormone called CCK that is only triggered by omega-3 fatty acids and amino acids from protein. And that CCK goes to your brain and says, oh, I've had enough to eat. Thank you. I'm good. The
Yeah.
nutrient density of that protein is what your body wants. And that's why you can easily scarf down a bag of potato chips with no problem and still be hungry. And
Yeah.
you will never binge on a prime rib, right? I mean, who do you know who has binged on a prime rib or some wild
You
salmon?
can't get through it. A
No.
dense serving of protein is super satiating, no doubt about
Yeah.
it.
And so what I tell my clients is start your meal by eating your protein.
Ah,
And then have your vegetables. You probably won't even finish everything on your plate. But what's interesting is then you say, okay, I'm stuffed. But then I see that piece of cake over there and I have one bite of that piece of cake. That triggers your brain, oh, I'm more hungry. I want more of that. So you can not finish and be totally satisfied after your dinner and after you've had that protein, but then you can go overeat on the sugar and the carbs. So I try
yeah.
to get people in tune with that. The other really cool little tool in the toolbox for people that have hit a plateau is that if you're doing an intermittent fasting and you break your fast, because we both know intermittent fasting helps with blood sugar regulation, insulin resistance. And so when you break your fast with a straight protein snack, you will increase that glucagon to insulin ratio. What does
Hmm.
that mean? That means that you're going to take your fat burning up a whole nother level, even above what you were getting from just intermittent fasting. And so
Interesting.
you have just a little bit of protein, then go vibrate or go for a walk with your dog and mobilize that fat even more. And that increases the fatty oxidation. And then you have your meal and you will have bumped up your fat burning for that day. The other great thing about protein is the thermic effect, where you are actually burning an extra 25 calories out of 100 calories of protein just through digestion and increasing the heat in your body. So you're actually only using 75 of those calories out of the 100 that you've eaten. And your body has a really hard time turning protein into fat. So it's
Yeah.
not going to be something that is going to cause any weight gain if you're looking to lose weight. And it's great for, of course, building that muscle. As we get older, we need that. And it helps with testosterone production and human growth hormone. And there's just a cascade of benefits of really focusing on that protein.
Amen. Love it. I'm so glad we ended with that. That's a nice bow on the episode. Sara
Awesome.
Banta, tell us one more time, where do people learn more about you?
acceleratedhealthproducts.com, and you can find my Ascent Diet Cleanse there right on the first page, and testimonials all throughout the website. I also have my radio show, Accelerated Health Radio and TV. And if anyone needs a personalized protocol put together or they don't know where to start, because I do not want people to go in and buy a whole bunch of supplements and get overwhelmed. That is not what I like. I want to make sure I meet them where they are at. And I'm happy to do that for anybody that emails me directly through the website.
Fantastic. And with that, as my dog marches off to the front door where someone just left a package or something, I'm so glad she didn't do that right in the middle. It's okay, just at the very end, I guess. But Sara, thanks so much again for coming on the show. It's been really good and different than what we did last time. So this has been refreshing and interesting, and you've got some great information. And I just have to say, when you reminded me about your story, what you were going through with the acne and your hair and everything like that, and now you just glow and you look terrific and
Oh,
healthy, and it's obvious, that you've just turned that corner, figured it all out, and now you're helping other people. And it's just a wonderful story what you've been able to accomplish personally.
thank you, Dave. And we didn't even touch on my 9-year-old son who I cured of leukemia. So
Oh,
that is something that I'm happy to share that story at another time. But that was what really spurred my passion into doing what I'm doing. Because we all love our kids more than ourselves, right?
And you talked about that on the previous episode. So for those of you listening, and this is your first introduction to Sara, just search Sara Banta on the Nairobi Health Show, and you can find that previous interview. So this is number 2. And she went a lot more into detail on her background story, which a lot of you will relate to. If you're struggling in your health, there's a lot of things in Sara's story that could really help you. So look for that episode. And Sara, thanks again.
Thank you, Dave, for having me.
It's been great. And for those of you listening, this is Dave Sherwin wishing you health and success.